First Peter chapter 2 has a brief section on the duties of Christian slaves to their earthly masters. The slaves were commanded to submit to their masters, not only to the good and the gentle, but also to those who were stubborn. If they obeyed their good masters, that was no more than what was expected of them. But if they submitted to the harsh and crooked masters, that was grace, or going beyond what was expected of them. For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering wrongfully. 1 Peter 2 verses 18 and 19. The words suffering wrongfully indicates that the Christians had done nothing to warrant their suffering. They were suffering unjustly. Jesus used similar language in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5 verses 10 through 12. The Apostle Peter asked the early Christians, "For what glory is it, if when ye be buffeted for your faults ye shall take it patiently? But if, when you do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with God." 1 Peter 2 and verse 20. When men disobey the law of the land and are punished for their misdeeds, there is no particular glory in their suffering, even if they take it patiently. The word buffeted in this verse literally means to strike with the fist, to pummel. The word is used of the mistreatment which Christ received prior to his crucifixion in Matthew 26:67 and also in Mark 14 and verse 65. Paul also used the word when he spoke of the hardships that he had experienced for the cause of Christ. "Even unto this hour we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted, and have no certain dwelling place." 1 Corinthians 4 and verse 11. The word patiently in 1 Peter 2 and verse 20 does not mean to endure without complaining. This word means to bear up under or remain under. The word steadfast is a good translation of the word here. If we bear up under suffering that we have deserved, then we do not deserve any particular credit for this. But when we do well and suffer for it, and we take that patiently, this is acceptable. Later in this book of 1 Peter, Peter enlarges upon this concept of suffering for doing the will of God. He says, "If ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye, for the Spirit of glory and of God resteth upon you. On their part he is evil spoken of, but on your part he is glorified. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf." 1 Peter 4 verses 14 through 16. Friends, no sane person likes to suffer for any reason. We prefer for everyone to approve of our behavior, or at least not to attack and mistreat us for it, but our world has known and still knows some of the most inexcusable abuse and misuse of other human beings. But generally speaking, persecution does not discourage the committed. It only weeds out the hypocrites. The strong tend to get stronger. They're not afraid of what the devil and his minions can do to us. When Christians take patiently the suffering which the world brings on us, Peter says that is acceptable with God. And the word acceptable is the same word that is rendered thankworthy in verse 19 of our lesson text today. The word means grace or behavior beyond what we normally expect of human beings. For us to be able to endure suffering when we do not deserve that suffering, we need the grace of our Heavenly Father. And without His help and support, we surely could not endure whatever comes our way. And even if it means that we are killed in the process of faithfully serving our God, there awaits for us on the other side a crown of righteousness, which the Lord shall give to us in that great day. For as Jesus reveals to John in Revelation 2 and verse 10, "Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life." Friends, we thank you for joining us for our program today. Please consider the things that we've discussed and have a blessed day.